Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. So we have the final of the four series previews for round two. We got the Hurricanes versus the Devils today. Of course, this one took the longest to officially be finalized and determined, as the Devils went to 7 games last night against the Rangers. We'll start with the Hurricanes, though. The Canes went 52-21-9 during the regular season, had 113 points. They were second in the NHL behind the not so almighty anymore Boston Bruins. And then they beat the Islanders 4-2 in 6 games to move on to play the Devils in round two. Carolina, it was a little bit iffy heading into that month of March. They played kind of mediocre, and it was a little bit worrisome what they were going to do in the playoffs without Pacioretty and Svechnikov. But honestly, for the most part, they pretty much dominated that series. It was all them in that series. So overall, very solid performance in round one by the Hurricanes. The Devils, it took a lot, but they beat the Rangers. But they finished with a 52-22-8 record for 112 points. They were third in the NHL. Then they beat the Rangers in round one in game 7 to move on to play the Hurricanes in round two. So this one with the Rangers is an interesting one because the Devils, they went down 2-0 in that series. And honestly, as somebody who, looked at the Devils and I thought they would put up a good fight. I honestly did think they would go like down 4 or 5 against the Rangers, but then Schmidt came in and suddenly everything changed. Schmidt really held out that offense that the Rangers had all that star power, and they defeated the Devils they defeated the Devils or defeated the Rangers in 7. So honestly, it was insane. I honestly, and like as well as this too, I thought after Game 5 I thought the series was going towards the Devils. Whether or not the Rangers won Game 6, it just seemed like that. And guys like Panarin having those ghostly, playoffs, you can't have that. So, of course, nothing taking away from the Devils when they played amazing. And this series, I think, will also be very neck and neck. I think that's what's going to happen. You look at your players who are leading through the playoffs. You got Sebastian Aho for the Hurricanes. Has played 6 games, has 4 goals, 3 assists for 7 points. Of course, being another very solid playoff performer, despite being down Svechnikov and Pacioretty. And that was the biggest thing that I was worried about when I looked at the Hurricanes, because without your top player in Svechnikov, they've been down Pacioretty the entire year. The argument that they're worse without Pacioretty is basically none, because they haven't had him the entire year. So honestly, kind of take that with what you will. But yeah, like Svechnikov, that's a huge blow to this team. And that's kind of why I'm a little bit worried as to if they're going to be able to take on the Devils in this second round playoff series. But on the other end, you got Erik Haula. Haula has had himself a really solid trade deadline, and it goes to show how good that move was for both teams. But hey, if you want to look at it this way, the Devils are in round 2 and the Bruins were bounced in round 1. So honestly, that's another thing you got to look at. But Haula, 7 games played, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. Very solid playoff performer. I'm not sure if he's had really good playoff stats in the past, but he has this season for sure. Was a key role in why they beat the Rangers for sure. And overall, you're going to count on guys like that. Like Haula is not one of those big name players on the Devils. Like when you think of the Devils, you think of Hughes. You think of Hughes. You think of both the Hugheses. You think of, Nico Hischier. You think of those guys. You don't think of Erik Haula right away. So getting goals from those guys, and as well as that too, Michael McLeod. McLeod got a goal in Game 7, his first ever in the playoffs. You need goals like that for some of your bottom feeding guys, for sure. So that goes to show the Devils have a pretty deep roster, but so do the Hurricanes. So that's something to keep in mind. Brent Burns was the next guy I want to talk about in favor for Carolina. Burns has not scored a goal, but in 6 games he has 5 assists. So he's been a solid player overall in that remark. And of course, he leads the offensive tear that, Carolina has, and he's been playing solid down the stretch. And I think that he will be somebody that, that the Devils will have to worry about for sure on that blue line. On the other end, you got Jack Hughes. Hughes, once again, having a really solid playoff series. First time in the playoffs, doesn't seem to be affecting him too much. 7 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. He is built to be a playoff player, so definitely a really solid player through that first round against the Rags. And he's one of those players you got to be careful for if you're the Hurricanes and you're playing them. The other end for Carolina, you got Stefan Noesen. If you told me that Noesen would be top 3 in scoring for playoffs, I'd be shocked. Because Noesen is, again, one of those players that is overlooked, but it goes to show how well coached and well built the Hurricanes really are. They don't have that, and I've said this so many times. They don't have that star power that necessarily has one guy that's just flying above everybody else and carrying the team per se. You have multiple guys at the same level, playing consistent and really good hockey, and I think that's the kind of team a Cup team is built by. So overall, yeah, Noesen. 6 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. I would expect him to be a prominent player in this year's or in this round. And then as well as that too, you got guys like Paul Stastny, who scored the overtime winner in Game 6. You got so many other guys on this team that just are easily forgettable. If they're on other teams, they're going to be terrible. But, you got so many guys on this roster that have been really solid. On the other end, you got Andre Palat. Palat, of course, missed the majority of the regular season for the Devils, but has come back and has played pretty well. 7 games played, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. Of course, has been a really solid forward for the Devils, has contributed, and he was a big contributor in that Game 7. As it goes for the goaltending is actually pretty interesting. Got Antti Raanta on the end for the Hurricanes. 5 games played, 3-2-0, a 2.59 goals against average, and a .906 save percentage. Raanta, really solid goalie, has been playing at a really good level. Expect that to keep carrying on into round 2. But as well as that too, you got Anderson, who of course came in for Game 6 and actually played pretty solid. But he also got Kochetkov. So you got some options there in net if you're Carolina. And it just goes to show that the Devils a little bit worrisome. But I wouldn't be worried about their goalie. You got Akira Schmid, who came in Game 3. And Rangers fans were calling him mid and all that stuff. But Schmid has really played really well down the stretch. 5 games played, 4-1-0, a 1.38 goals against average, and a .951 save percentage. In my honest opinion, if this series is going to be close, and as well as that too, if the Devils are going to win it, Schmid needs to be at the top of his game. You can't have a Vanacek flump like you did in the first round for sure. Season series, dead even, 2-2. And I think that's the only series in round 2 that is actually dead even. First game was December 20th, 4-1 win for Carolina. The first game was New Year's Day, 5-4 shootout win for Carolina. The next 2 went to the Devils, January 10th, 5-3 for Devils, and then March 12th, 3-0 for the Devils. So, of course, there's a lot of factors you got to play into this series. Of course, how will the goaltending be? Will home ice advantage matter? Because, of course, during these playoffs, that has not mattered whatsoever. So, really, I'm wondering. But overall, my prediction is the Carolina Hurricanes are going to win this series in 7 games. I think it will be really close. I think both teams are really well matched, and they're both good teams. I just don't see the fact that I can't see the Devils going to the conference finals. I'd be shocked if they do, but I mean, hey, I didn't have them going past the first round, but they did. So we'll see. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you guys for the playoff live streams and all that good stuff. We're likely probably going to stream Game 1, but I haven't decided yet. So yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next one. Adios.